no matter whether you are affected by the stress or you're not affected by the stress, the outcome is still going to be the same. You still have to do the same thing. You have to apologize to the person, or you have to come up with a solution to solve the problem. It's never about like you being stressed.
Welcome back to Wise and Shine. I'm your host Reggie, aka your chief financial coconut.
And I'm Dawn, as Socialjet babe. Today we're going to talk about an emotion that is very universal to everybody. And the best person to have on our step to talk about this called stress is none other than Stanley, who has 4 jobs and multiple freelance gigs. So Stanley, can you introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Stanley. I am gainfully, multiply employed in different places. Yes, highly stressed, maybe individual. So best topic to talk about is stress.
And by now you should probably have already heard his stuff, right? So if you have not heard the episode that we did with him, you should go and check out the link. I don't know where we're gonna put the link, but yes, somewhere, right? Yeah. Overly employed, 4 jobs. You can still break down like what is a job, what is not a job, all that jazz, right? So we decided to bring him back in studio to talk a little bit about this stress management, because I think we all lead quite intense life. Same with our audience, right? A lot of our audience live very intense life, and it's not all work. It could be high performance job plus some sort of side thing, and then still got to take care of family, caregiving. There's all sorts of stuff. In general, I think Singaporeans are a very stressed up bunch. Right? Do y'all feel so?
Yes, and the ability to manage stress actually is one of the reasons for success. I mean, we obviously cannot manage the stress of 4 jobs. That's why we're not like Stanley here.
But you got other jobs.
As I mentioned in that episode, right, I cannot deal with the contractual times 4.
That's 4.
So that stress I cannot deal. That's why I'm not in your shoes. But like the art of being able to manage that stress is really the key to individual success. Or sometimes not success, survival.
Survivability is key.
You need to survive first, then you can try.
That's true.
Fair. So today we want to go one round to talk about practical things lah. Because people always, I think recently we talked about too many high ideas, big ideas. So we want to talk about how do you practically manage the stress, and what are some main causes of stress in your life, right? And some things, right, may not be as obvious, right? Like maybe I can start with one thing that I feel is not as obvious about the stresses of Singapore, right? It's the sound. It's very noisy. Singapore is very noisy. Like if you have not lived elsewhere, you will not feel like Singapore is very noisy. But because I've lived in multiple places, Singapore is very noisy. The background sound, the Sangku Lopok upstairs shouting at the kid, it's you can hear.
Is that stressful then if you're not aware? Because I don't feel
it causes
noise.
Background stress. I feel like it causes background stress, right? And
it's subconscious.
It's a subconscious one, right? And because it's so noisy, there's no place to sit down and listen to your own voice. I know this is very meta.
Wow.
Zen, very zen and zen, namaste, right? Shout out to Bishan Park. I love Bishan Park, right? Because Bishan Park is far away from the road enough. Right, brought to you by N Parks. Okay? N Parks, I say so many times, you should sponsor already. Okay, anyway. Right. So it's the background sound is an interesting source of stress in my view lah, right? But before I talk about how I manage this thing, maybe we can open up. What are some main causes of stress in your life?
I think maybe Dawn can start first. You have a lot of stresses.
The most interesting example, right? 4 jobs and multiple freelance gigs.
Yes.
What is the most stressful for you?
I think for me, like when it comes to stress wise, it's often not the typical everyday work that causes the stress. It's always not the typical situation. For example, like I'm in the agency space. Let's say if clients are being very upset or very nasty, that is a one level of stress. And then you also have maybe certain, let's say, colleagues that cannot perform. I mean, not saying that.
Colleague, you heard that, no? You heard that. Colleague,
let's say the colleagues cannot perform and you have to deal with the aftermath of a situation. That's stressful, I guess, in the agency context. And of course, some other stresses are like if you're not paid on time in the past, when I was working in other fields, I have maybe clients that couldn't pay on time. Those are quite stressful situations to be in. But if I talk about everyday stress itself, I would say that there's a very huge compartment that we can create in our mind. And this stress goes to let's say in Socialjet or one of the agencies I'm in, let's say there's some challenges and issues. Okay, I absorb it, I deal with it, and then I put it in a compartment. Okay, and then I move on to another portfolio that I'm handling. Let's say seconds media. Oh, this one has some partners issue. Okay, what partner issues are we talking about? So partnership with another agency has some issues. Okay, let me navigate it. And after I'm done, okay, park it back into the compartment. So basically this way the stress, right, it's stressful, but I don't take it back and I don't, I'm so stressed. There's so many things I need to handle. During the transition, because I was previously with another agency that I transited to Socialjet full time. So I was from Extend and moving on to Socialjet at that point in time. It was quite stressful.
Transition stress.
Yeah, because the transition stress was the uncertain aspect of whether because for past 4 or 5 years I've been doing with Extend, and then after that I need to transit to another role. It was uncertain that whether I will actually be able to live up to the expectations, because everyone hires you for that fact that you have an expected thing to fulfill, and it's always stressful to live up to that. But I'd like to say that it's all over. This is 1 month into that role, and I'm no longer stressed. It's quite
just
chill.
in case boss is seeing.
Yes, I'm no longer stressed. Okay, it's quite chill.
That's a good reply.
That's good. That's good.
Transition stress.
But it's interesting because I think he did lay out an interesting idea where if you're familiar with that thing, okay, and you are very good at it, or you are very iterative and you're familiar, you're kind of regular part of life, right? Even though outside people like us look at him as like, oh, you're doing so many things, I must be very stressful. But to him, it's like, it's just run on the mill, it's just another day.
Yeah,
right?
It's a typical thing.
Yeah, it's a typical day, and I have created a system that works, and we can talk about the compartmentalization later. That is one way to manage stress. But it's the transition and the uncertainty of life that causes him more stress.
Yes.
That is
would you
so
say the
interesting.
biggest
Okay.
stressor in your life would be uncertainty?
Yes. I think I'm very averse to uncertainty.
Is that why you plan your life so tight?
Yes.
That's why he can take
That's why
the
he can.
contract stress that I cannot.
Yeah.
He wants it.
So
It fits him, that certainty that he
I
craves.
push you a little bit, right? Does it mean that part of you taking up so many things in your life is so that you plan it very tight and very certain? You cannot accept like a few hours, like, what am I doing here type of situation.
No, not exactly that. I'm okay if I plan for the time to do nothing, I'm okay with it.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
you cannot suddenly have.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable if
So if
let's say
someone cancel
I'm
your
plan-
meetings,
I'll immediately have something to fill it in. No, because there are a lot of people that wants my time. So it's okay.
fair.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I like that. We can talk about the transition stress later. But what about you?
I think for me, the biggest stress, I had experiences of transition stress in the past when I changed roles, go in a new industry. There's always that learning curve, right? But it's been a long time since I really felt that major.
That transition, right?
Yeah, so it's, I'm
That's
still
it's already
learning
there,
lots of
right?
stuff in my job
Done
now.
already,
That's
there already.
already there, right?
Yeah, last time I moved from media to events to investigation. Then very big transitions.
Yes.
I'll feel it more, but now not so much. It's really just changes within the industry, which
Right.
is a little
Like
easier to
minor
handle.
shifts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
minor transitions. That's fine. But I think one of the biggest stresses in my life is deadlines. I hate it when I'm given a deadline. When I was studying, right, the one thing I hated was exams. Because it forces
It's a forced
me
deadline.
to learn finish and be good at it by this date to sit that paper.
Yeah.
I'm like, why I cannot have 1 year, 2 years, 3 years to learn at my own pace? Why must I learn at your pace?
That's true.
Because
Yeah.
it's the system.
Yeah, lah, that's right.
It's the structure. Now you can slowly learn. It's okay. No one pushing you. Take your time.
5 years,
Take
no
your
problem.
time.
Take it.
Take your time.
Yeah, so for me, it's really deadline stress, and I think like I was just sharing with you guys how I feel very stressed when I go on holiday.
Oh, yeah.
Because I will have all the deadlines that I need to manage in order for me to have no deadline during the holiday. And that's very stressful for me.
So it's not about the holiday.
It's the deadline.
It's the deadline.
Deadline,
Okay,
yes.
okay.
And the deadline to, like, for example, you see, I'm going on a holiday means I must have my luggage packed by a certain date or time.
Correct.
That's a deadline to me. It is. Because I'm like, I need to really finish packing, because if I don't, I'm dead. I'm screwed.
Yeah, it's a deadline.
Yeah, that's actually really stressful for me.
And
Right?
do you have a luggage open to pack over time?
Yes.
Okay.
So how I manage
So
that-
your Singapore life still can allow that lah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, how I manage that deadline of luggage packing, right? It's usually 3 days at least
Okay.
before the trip. I open the luggage.
Like bit by bit lah.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Because I don't have the time to just, and I cannot understand how some people on Instagram, they will just say like, pack my luggage in 30 minutes, boom, can go already. I'm like, oh, I cannot.
Those are content.
That one, that one is planned already.
It's a planned
It's a
content.
plan. It's a planned plan.
Yeah, it's a minimalist
Yeah.
plan.
Yeah, plan. Right.
Because I realized this about myself early on. Like, I couldn't understand why I like reading. I like reading textbook. So before the course even start, I'll go and buy the textbook. Then I'm like, wow, so fun to learn. But the moment they throw in the exam and the assignment, I'm like. So I realized that about myself, and once I figured that it was the deadlines and not the course or not the difficulty of the topic that was causing me the stress, I think one thing that I've done to manage that stress over time is to try and have control of the deadlines. So when I work with clients now, I try to be the one setting the deadline. The first question I always ask when a client comes to me with a project is, when do you need this by?
Yeah.
When do you need this published by? And I propose the timeline instead of they proposing it.
So in a way, you took charge of it
Yeah,
for yourself.
yeah.
Yes, correct. Yeah, but that's only because I know that if I don't, the stress is going to be imposed on me later on. So I want to try.
Which means you hate the please send by tomorrow this time.
Oh, I hate. Yeah, I really
The
hate.
shit.
Why y'all do this kind of stupid shit? I will never do that. Okay, if you come and inbound with me, right? You ask me for that, it's like forget it, just forget it.
I get a lot of requests,
Yeah,
right?
it's all sorts of weird
and
shit.
you know, like being someone who's a bit more visible, I get a lot of requests, which I can understand because I used to work in agencies too. You guys need to get rate cards from creators and then and all
put
that
together
stuff,
a plan.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for a pitch lah, for a general
Right,
pitch.
or like
yeah.
maybe just your own, you gather first so later on that you're prepared.
Yeah.
But the one thing I can never understand and I can never forgive, I have very little tolerance for, is when people impose a deadline on me that's not really urgent.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's your deadline, not mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do I need to shoulder your stress?
Yeah.
If you knew your deadline, you needed my code, my rate card by tomorrow.
You should have asked for it earlier.
Yeah, ask me 1 week ago. You also forget leh. Now your problem become my problem.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing that I really
You
want.
better
pet
understand.
peeve,
Better understand.
But at least not on this thing, because she's mentioning, especially in an agency world, there are two kinds of agency personnel lah. So there'll be one kind whereby everything is urgent. So basically this kind of person that I think it's a type A, type B personality. So some people are like, everything is urgent. Yeah, no matter whether it's urgent or not, it's urgent to them. So everything to others is urgent.
That one is like the boy who cried wolf, you know.
Yeah, correct. So eventually, they'll have a bit lesser trust score with people that they keep saying is urgent. But of course, there's the other kind of, it's more value-based exchange, whereby if it's really, really, really urgent, and it's sometimes not caused by us. Some clients just want it like today, now. But of course, like I say, it's not your stress. But so for my side, it's like, if now they are able to sign and agree to the whole thing, then it's up to us to communicate with the creator, say, it's ready to go.
Actually, there's budget, and then there's not enough people that sign up for this.
Yeah. So it's like you can be like really raw and transparent and just give the value. And then from creator perspective, it's like, oh, actually, it's quite a good deal, right?
That's what I've learned over time.
It's always the explanation that makes the difference, right? Because I'm okay working. Actually, I can manage the stress of deadlines on projects. So other people, they like not mine, right? They impose on me and it's very last minute. I can manage it and still have a good relationship when that person plays their part to help me understand why it's so urgent. The client just came back yesterday. Or like, I'm supposed to submit this to the ministry tomorrow, but I forgot. I'm so sorry. What can I do? Can you help me? When it's a very honest conversation.
Exactly, like a raw and transparent approach.
Exactly.
Where there's value offer on both sides. I don't just request from you, but I'm also sharing that idea that helps to ease in the situation for everyone as well.
Correct. And it lessens the
But not
stress
everybody is like that lah. Not everybody is like that. Let's be clear.
It's like
So,
it's like angel clients.
What I've
angel.
learned, wait, before we move away from this, what I've learned is if they ask for a generic thing, right, and they tell you tomorrow, never mind, don't need reply. Okay, don't need reply. If they
Not specific,
not
context.
specific, don't need reply. Don't care. If they desperately need you, right, they will push again. Then somehow the deadline can move on, right? So if the deadline can move on, then you wait again. It's also never mind one. No hurry, okay? But if they really need you, they send you the brief, everything. They tell you the price. Client's okay with your price. They're ready to go. Okay, cool. Take it.
That's why
Right?
I enjoy working more than studying, no?
Yeah.
Because the exam deadline cannot shift.
So, they like a shift, right? Can disturb, can negotiate. Okay.
Because there's internal deadlines and there's external deadlines. Okay, so as agency, I also can share that usually we create a lot of stress for ourselves as well by creating what we call internal deadlines. And then we have like internal deadlines.
Rush to wait, yeah, really cannot.
Like senior management will tell the team, will tell the juniors that okay, deadline is this, but actually there's also rubber band time upstairs.
I know.
And there's rubber band time upstairs. This only helps to create buffer so that it's more smoother. Like we have more days to develop our content now.
Yeah.
But it's okay, don't need reply one. If you have a long-standing relationship, that's different, but nothing is that urgent.
That's true.
Okay.
I think now this style of situation, usually as an agency, if that happens to you very often from your clients, you need to evaluate on whether you have the right clients or not.
Yeah, your own processes will be weird. Okay, but that aside, yeah. So we've kind of established some, like stress points that people face lah. Okay, but I think mine is the weirdest lah. This sound.
So what's your
thing.
biggest stressor?
I mean, other than all the typical stresses that everybody has, I sincerely think...
You cannot copy ours, deadline.
I already established sound. I think the sound is very stressful.
Really? Sound is the biggest
So
stressor.
when I go into a restaurant, I can walk out just because it's too noisy.
So you cannot eat at McDonald's because they play
Different.
fast food music.
Different.
Oh.
So there's this thing called a white noise. That means when it's so noisy that I cannot hear anything, it's okay.
So McDonald's is considered white noise.
White noise. Because it's so noisy. I can't hear anything. I cannot hear the people's emotions. I cannot hear their conversation. I cannot hear anything. It's so noisy that to me is no difference from
like television.
Yeah. So that I'm okay. The part that I really cannot take it is that the 2-3 tables beside me, they are venting, right? Gossiping is a big part of surviving. My theory is auntie survive longer than uncle because they gossip more, right? So uncle should gossip more. Okay, anyway.
Gossip more within guys.
More, yeah. It's great. You survive longer. Okay, but I don't need to be part of your expounding process. But your energy will pure,
Change table.
right? There's no other table. And the worst thing is...
Go eat there.
Exactly, I walk out, right? Because the space is enclosed, so the sound bounces, right? I mean, and I'm very
Soundproofing not very good.
It's soundproofing not very good. That's why the other day when I went to a particular Chinese restaurant, that is quite packed, and I was like, wow, this space is very comfortable. Then I realized one thing. Every chair is a dampener. It's all the fluffy chair.
It soaks the sound.
It soaks up the sound, so there is no bouncing. So I was like, wow, this place is very nice. Windy, very quiet. It's not that there's no conversation. It's just the sound is not disturbing. It's not slapping me in my face.
It's not bouncing around.
It's not bouncing around. It's just being absorbed to the chair. And then of course there's no crying babies. Right? And to be fair, I'm not saying babies are wrong. I usually blame the parents.
So you take a flight and the baby is crying. Is that very stressful for you?
So I manage it by wearing earplugs. Like earpiece or earbuds, right? So to me, sometimes I don't even know why I'm listening. I'm just listening so that I don't need to listen to you, right? So that is a big stressor in my life that is not so conventional. Like all the transition stress, this one, of course, this is normal stress. Everybody also stressed, but I feel like a lot of Singaporeans don't realize that because Singapore is so noisy, it creates a stress layer beneath. And it's a very weird thing. I don't even know how to...
It's a very fair point because you see for example, let's say we commute. Do you guys have a habit of plugging in your earbuds or headphones?
Never.
Yeah. For me, I will always tend to either have headphone or earpiece whenever I commute so that I can do my own work in peace. I can work on the train and stuff in peace, not undisturbed by environment. So I think I can recognize some of the key things, but I didn't know it was sound stress. I just think it's environment. Yeah,
so the big part there, other than the space, because these are all city stresses, right? Other than being very tight, there's no personal space, no boundaries, whatever. I think sound is one of those things that you cannot run away. Like the space, you can walk to the next cabin, or if there's some smell, you move to the next place. But sound will come and chase after you, It's like wong, 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 wong. So that's a big stressor for me. Yeah. So that's an anomaly. If you have other thing that causes you stress, you put in the comment section. Okay, I think
actually a lot of things can cause you stress. Even air can cause you stress together.
Hey, so to be clear, right, we're not talking about no stress in life. Yeah. So we're not pursuing that. We're talking about how do you manage all these stresses so that you can then, continue to thrive and make progress in life, right? So with that as the backdrop, I want to kind of hear how you're doing, especially you were talking about this compartmentalizing, because you have so many things in your life, right? And I think it's an important discussion.
Yeah, how to compartmentalize.
So
what are the compartments?
Yeah,
Agency,
how do you work
1,
through
2,
this?
3, 4, household stress.
Household stress,
friend stress.
Friend stress, not really lah. I mean, I believe that true friendships are low maintenance. I can don't meet you for like years and we can still be good friends. Yeah, I believe strongly in that. And that's why I don't really have friendship stress, I guess. Yeah, but when it comes to friendships, that's the least amount of stress to me. Yeah.
So I'm not interested in a compartment. I'm more interested in how do you compartment?
How do I define my compartments?
How do you plug it? Because I get the idea of compartmentalization, right? How do you mentally do this? Because it's not a whiteboard drawing thing, You gotta mentally pursue this thing of like, okay, this problem, put here. What do you have to say? Oh, this problem, okay, put here. What do you have to say? Okay, problem, put here. Because some problems just cannot be solved in the interim.
I think one very important thing that I do is that there are 2 mantras that I live by, which is like which is similar to how you manage your stress as well, right? If it's noise or someone, you can actually step back from it, right? So let's say if the client has a lot of issues and are very unhappy, this is one big stress for agency. One important thing is to look at it like this is just of course it happens every now and then. And the second thing is that no matter whether you are affected by the stress or you're not affected by the stress, the outcome is still going to be the same. You still have to do the same thing. You have to apologize to the person, or you have to come up with a solution to solve the problem. It's never about like you being stressed. So to me, that's why like the compartment is like, okay, this happened. Okay, let's put it here. I'll come and address it, give it some solution, think about it in a bit. But it's not stressful. Instead of compartment, it should also be considered as levels of stress. Like there's hierarchy. So everyday work stress, the hierarchy is very low. Yeah. In fact, I will consider like my household stress to be like higher priority stress than anything else, because it's things that I cannot give immediate solutions to a lot of times.
A lot of those stresses are very long term and complicated.
It's very long term,
yeah.
And you can't compartmentalize it because the moment you get back home, it enters in the conversation. For me, like let's say if there's work stress, it all happens on the laptop, it all happens on the phone, right? For example, like if I really think that it's truly very stressful, I can don't respond to it. Yeah. Or I'll usually give a statement to say that give me some time to think about it. I'll get back to you. Or like I acknowledge whatever you are telling me. Let me take some time to evaluate it and get back to you by tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. Give a deadline to them. And so that they will also feel like more secure in the sense that you'll be giving them a response, right? But I say that for you, the moment you do that, the moment I do that, I shift it to compartment of not super urgent 2 days later. Not super urgent 1 day later. So then everything's accumulates there. And I would do every morning when I wake up, I will do a priority task whereby I'll list up. I think I shared about that. I'll create a WhatsApp. I have a WhatsApp group with myself with only one person inside, which is me. And I'll send myself things that I need to do for today. Let's say I need to clear this angry customers problem. I need to come up with a game plan to work with X number of creators for certain things. Or I need to come up with creative plan for another thing, for example. So I'll craft out and I'll label like which agency is it, because I'm working in a different agency for different things. That will be one big part. And then of course I have freelance things that I do. Freelance not really job, but like it's task.
It adds to the task, right? Yeah.
Correct. So I will then prioritize, okay, can I work on this at night? So for example, I recently started taking up freelance management of like a really creative friend of mine. So whenever there's like gigs, the really cool thing about managing this creative friend of mine is that a lot of the gigs coming at night. So which means that I could actually do it at midnight. I could settle quite a lot of things at midnight. So the time slot is a lot more managed. Or like for example, I can let's say if I only work on him with some creative brainstorming, I can do it concurrently, maybe at his place, and also settle all the other things I need to do as well.
Yeah. But that is essentially managing the task such that it does not create stress for you. But that is not compartmentalizing the stress in your head.
I think
you know what I mean? Because
that's true.
How I think about it, right, is I compartmentalize some of these stresses, right? Because of course it's not as simple as like, oh, okay, like that, later lah, right? It's not like just a fairy tale type of situation, but like you've pointed out, some stresses, especially at home, right, will never be solved in a message, or it will never be solved after the deadline, because there's no deadline in this thing.
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
It's a perpetuity problem until it is solved. And sometimes it is just not the right time to solve it, right? Like, some conversations are difficult conversations. They create stress, but you know that it's not the right time to talk about it. You go and open this can of worms, wow, the problem may be triple. Right? It causes you more stress. So how I think about it is I think about it from a perspective of like, can this be solved? Okay? Because if this cannot be solved, then I just have to park it in my stress, a set of things that cause me stress, and it will be there.
It's like sound to you.
Yeah, it's like sound to me. It's essentially a background sound. It will be there. I know it pops up from time to time. Because you will not always think about it, right? But from time to time, when some triggers trigger you, then you're like, see lah, part of it lah, right? So these things, they are there and they cannot be solved in a short period of time. I just focus on dampening my emotional reaction to it. Hey, I hope you're enjoying Wise and Shine so far. I'm your host Reggie, aka your chief financial coconut, and for us to continue to do this show so that you become a tad bit wiser every week, you gotta like, share, subscribe, help us beat the algorithm. But even more importantly, if you can, comment in the comment section below. Let us know your thoughts and also some questions that you would love us to answer. Yep, now back to the show.
Actually, I get why you see that as two different things. But I'm actually more aligned with Stanley on this part, in the sense that my way of compartmentalizing is very similar to yours. It's a to-do list. But like you say, some of them, the instances on the to-do list are very, very long.
Yeah.
So it just sits there.
But it's compartmentalized.
By the to-do list.
So it's still a to-do list,
Yes.
but this to-do list has a question mark of when it will be solved.
Yes.
Because
So
some
it
things
will-
cannot be addressed.
Exactly.
Okay. So I should do a to-do list in that sense. No, because I see the value.
One way of
Yeah,
compartmentalizing.
Yeah.
I see, because I think the to-do list is just a refined way of journaling. Okay, so I do see the value in writing it down and then putting it somewhere, so maybe I should
I
explore
same thing.
that.
I WhatsApp myself.
It works so well.
The first chat.
Yeah.
First
And you pin the chat for yourself.
Don't even need pin. I thought WhatsApp auto pin for us.
No, I manually pin. I manually pin the so it's like important chat, then I pin it myself.
Oh, I think because mine is like my chat with myself. And it's
No,
just
because
the
maybe
top one.
because like you don't have a lot of active chat, so it's always like at the
maybe I use it. I talk to myself so often, and that is the most active chat.
correct. Because like for me especially, because my phone is used for a lot of communications. Like people message even like at 2 a.m. 3 a.m. So it's always flooded down. So I have to pin. Yeah.
Let's talk about that communication stress.
Yeah.
It's something I hear a lot from my friends as well, especially teachers. Yeah, they get a lot of communication.
Teachers' boundaries are gone already.
Exactly.
At this
What
point in time.
boundary?
Yeah, teachers got no more boundaries
They're
already.
gone
I mean, my
already,
cousins
right?
are teachers, right? And then they're like, oh my, every problem is my problem, right? It's like whatever the parents cannot do become my problem.
And I think in this day and age, right?
Right.
Outsource. It's called outsource.
Yeah.
Teachers.
They pay the school outsource.
Life very hard. Yeah.
Correct. So how do they manage that communication? I mean, okay, so I have my own way, but I want to hear from you because you said your phone is always flooded. Okay. How do you then manage that communication
The
stress?
do not disturb button is very good.
Oh yeah, love it.
Yeah. Okay. So
Wait, I don't know what is this do not disturb button.
My do not disturb button is perpetually on.
Okay,
That's
I'm
why.
lost here.
That's
What
why
is this?
when people call me, they ask me why you never pick up. I said do not disturb lah. But you always do not disturb. Yeah lah, then don't call me.
What is this do not disturb button? I'm completely
okay, so
lost.
on your Apple or any Android phone, there's a do not disturb function. You can go and find out more about it.
Where? Like it's on what?
it's
on
settings,
the main
There's a
page?
hotkey lah.
Yeah, it's
Not just airplane mode, man.
No, it's not airplane
No,
mode.
airplane mode. That means there's no
Airplane mode,
connection.
you're already
right?
gone.
Yeah, you're already gone.
Do not disturb. At least you can still WhatsApp through.
Do not
I'm
disturb.
on airplane mode right now.
Yeah. So do not disturb is a system where once you click, is a one button you click. Then there's certain settings that are preset. So this setting means that no vibration, no notification, people cannot reach you directly. They can still send you the message. When you on the app, you will still see whatever app you turn on, you will still see the app.
But you don't get the incoming push
Yeah, you don't get push
notification.
notifications, and you also can manage like whether they can call you or not at certain timing, or whether your alarm clock will still ring. There was first time that I turned on Do Not Disturb and my alarm clock didn't ring. I was so worried. And it was because I didn't set a setting to allow alarm clock to ring. So you have to still maneuver the setting.
Yes.
But it's
That's a
Oh my god, I sound like such a tech noob here, not knowing that to do not disturb. I literally, when I say the one to disturb me is airplane. When I go to sleep, people cannot contact me because Wi-Fi and mobile and airplane all off. Cannot find me.
It disappears.
Like my parents really need to find me, but nobody pick up. And if I oversleep, then it's a goner, right? So then I'm like, okay, then I don't do the airplane. I just off Wi-Fi. So they know if they WhatsApp me and I reply, I might be sleeping. Or I
they can still call you.
Yeah. I didn't know about this. Do not disturb. Wow.
But okay, but these are just functions. Essentially, the idea is to kind of draw some boundaries, right?
Okay.
To be away from all these people or away from the noise or the communication.
So okay, but then someone who, let's say the teachers, for example, right? Or actually not just teachers, anyone working a corporate job. Yeah. Okay, imagine nowadays, especially if you have international teams, they'll be contacting you at different hours, right?
Normal.
Switching on that do not disturb could also sometimes, some people may not want to switch on that do not disturb button because what if really got emergency?
Yeah.
That's true.
So then they leave it on.
And this is an interesting phenomenon, right? Because Ministry of Manpower keeps reporting that work hours are coming down. And this will be ongoing, right? Work hours are coming down. Average work hours are coming down.
Oh, it's coming down?
Yeah. So it's been an ongoing thing. So the work hours have been coming down, so-called generic most of the people, right? Then me and my friends look at it as it's more like people are doing a lot of work that are not accounted for in the work hours.
Yeah.
Like all this messaging, all that, like you want to be the smart hub or whatever hub, right? Then you want your people to be like, thinking and all that, tech savvy, everything. It's bound to have this sort of problems, right? Then a lot of people are bringing work or some form of work into their lives, right? And it feels like it's eating it in, right? It's how to shut off.
Yeah.
I think it's a habitual thing. You need to create a habit and a system that works for you. Like for me, my habit and system is that even if I'm on Do Not Disturb, I will still check my messages. It's just that the good thing is that you cannot actively harm for me all the time. Yeah, and there are some people that really do call at weird hours. I mean, non-international people, like they do call at weird hours, like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., but they are non-international, okay?
Don't worry, I will never call you at 2 a.m.
If they are from US team, I can understand because it's their regular time, and that I mean that's that lah, right? A lot of times is like that allows you to create some boundaries, but I have a habit of like checking my messages regularly. So maybe even every 20-30 minutes during an interval or during a break, I'll just quickly check the messages to see if there's any urgent priority. Yeah. So I think and of course in group chats they can tag you, right? So if they tag you, there's actually this color that shows that it's for you, right? So those I will check a bit faster, I think, on group chat notes because sometimes you cannot avoid, right? They tag you inside already.
Now we know the secret to getting Stanley's attention. You must add him.
Very bad, this one, very bad. Because for me, I manage a team, right? So there are some parameters you need to set for the team, right? Like
Reggie's communication always says he was not notified of this message.
Is it? Is it?
The Do Not Disturb shot.
I see that bottom. He was not notified of this message.
Thank you. Do not disturb. I'm perpetually not on disturb, right? So don't disturb me. But to be fair, I extend it to everyone. Like my whole team, they know, right? And I'm okay if they do that. Right. So one of the first thing that I need to rejig some of them, right, is this thing called urgent. Nothing is that urgent, right? Like if it's very urgent, you call my phone until it pitcha. If not, it's not urgent. There's no such thing as urgent email, no such thing as urgent message. If it's urgent, you better call me, my phone bursts. Right? And this is a thing that I think a lot of the guys, they bring on because of wherever they work prior. And you need to rewire people. So then this is part of negotiating social norms, right? And social norms does not mean you negotiate society lah. But in your small little community, if you want to minimize all these stress signals and still keep up with whatever that needs to be done, and it does not need to be work. It can be hang out with your buddies and all that. you must kind of come to a social understanding of like when the word urgent is used, it is urgent.
Yeah.
Get it done.
It's not like you use it for fun, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's important.
And it's not just your own definition. Everybody must buy into this definition, or at least the circle right? The circle that you use the language in must be cognizant of some of these signals that are clearly defined. So like when Don say, oh, maybe I can text Stanley. Okay, fair. That is one done when. But at some point, Stanley has to set up a system of like how the tagging works. Under what situation you can tag. Under what situation don't tag, right? And then if everyone buys into it, then we become a little bit more settled on like, oh, okay, so this one really urgent, like so it's some sort of a social understanding that we can establish to reduce the stress signals around, because some stress just no need one. That's my view yeah.
But that's a good point. But I think sometimes it's also a bit hard. Especially for me, I work in many different teams and I have a lot of freelance teams as well and freelance projects, right? So, I think sometimes at times it could also be like truly like so-called like urgent, right? Whereby that's why they ping you, and sometimes hard to define like what is truly urgent to them. So I mean, I give you some context as well. Like for me, let's say if I'm doing business development, like business BD work, right? If the client is ready to sign and I need information urgently because I need to close the deal. I mean, nothing is urgent, but I would feel that it's urgent enough to compel me to get information ASAP. For example, let's say I need to acquire information of something urgently. I need to call someone to make sure it's urgently given to me so I can close the deal, because I think that urgency is that I need to bring the deal in.
Yeah. So I think that is fair, and that is a social so you must set a social parameter, right? In other words, I think the truth is this. The truth is, when we are in the business or when we are out there, you're interacting with all sorts of people. Right, and they have all sorts of patterns. They speak all sorts of language, and they do things in all sorts of ways. But you want to at least have a group of people that you work with, live with, or be with that are consistent.
More comfortable. So
comfort comes with the consistency, right? It's always like that. So, okay, that is very comfortable. So when you go out and interact with other people, right, then you cannot expect them to operate on the same language. You work with them, you operate in their language, but when you come back, you know that, okay, you have that space.
Yeah.
This social circle has a certain level of consistency, and it can be at home, it can be at work, it can be in your community, your hobby group, whatever. There is a social parameter that has been set up. Everyone buys into it. You feel safe in it.
Yeah. I agree.
So you reduce the stress signals in here.
In certain spaces so that you can...
Like you create your own safe zone.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when you participate in a space, then you have to slowly integrate into this, right? It's like how when someone joins the company, then I need to teach them there's nothing called urgent here. If it's urgent, you call. When the word urgent comes out, that means it's really urgent.
Yeah, it cannot be like you talk about it.
Yeah. So and this is an inculcation or a process of integrating people into social circles, that I think is a big part of reducing stress, in a day-to-day high performance environment.
One thing I also learned is that aside from us actively curating that sacred space with our close connections so that they understand how we operate and we manage the stresses here, right? The missing piece is that people outside of this are not as respectful.
Of course.
And it's really trying to manage that so that you see, it's like we are aligned in the sense that call means really urgent, life-threatening.
Yes.
So when my mom called me, I know it's really like, Amma is in hospital. Okay, justified for a call.
Very
you don't
urgent.
Call me like, I'm at your house downstairs, eat breakfast.
That day, someone... No, and I think it is not real for you to then expect everyone to operate in the same language, right?
Exactly.
So you must be comfortable with that.
I think it's also like constantly communicating that.
Yeah.
So that they understand and they over time, they may not get it the first time, third time, fifth time, but after a while you keep doing it to them, they kind of get it.
Yeah, and positive enforcement, right, and negative reinforcement is very powerful in this thing, right? When I got new clients, there's this one person that randomly asked me for a call. I was like, okay, what do you want to call? right? And then immediately tell me, wow, actually your idea quite good. I was like, bro, don't need to call.
email.
Don't need to call, right? I know my idea is good, right? Don't need to call, right? And then the next round, of course, I chit chat whatever lah, right? I'm done. The next round, I asked when the person asked me can call or not, and then I asked, why do you need this call? Right, so I set the first layout barrier. Then the person tell me blah blah blah. So this one very easy. Later I voicemail you, right? So in other words, I reject them without rejecting them, and over the process, I kind of inculcate them into how I operate. But of course, this comes to your position of power.
It's very true
Okay,
though.
it comes to your position of power. Okay, if you are not the one in power, you don't have the ability to
it's a bit
negotiate, right?
hard.
And bo pian lah.
It's
It's
about
like
managing, compartmentalizing the to-do list.
Correct.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because when I try to strike a coffee with someone very established in the game, right? Oh, I will shift everything to meet the person. Once the person tell me,
Correct. We
okay,
have to
this day,
play to
this
that
time,
person's one.
I will meet you.
Yeah.
So okay.
It's an authority thing,
Yes.
actually.
So it's a power play, right? Who has the power to negotiate in the game?
Correct.
Which is why it's so stressful for teachers.
Because they are like in the
Because
middle.
the power. The parents
Louis cheering for the teachers. Yeah. So it's hard. MOE is a difficult
But I
game.
want to share, okay, so going back to all these little stresses, especially the communication that is really just non-stop, 24/7 these days,
Yes.
right? I read this really great tip recently in the newsletter, which was about this guy, the inbox. I'm sure we all can relate, permanently in the hundreds.
Mine is permanently in the
So
thousands.
he actually did. Okay.
Yeah.
I think my blog one is thousands really.
Yeah,
Because I was telling you guys my
No,
February
clearly.
emails still haven't even clear.
Yeah.
So anyway, like one tip that he gave was he searched his inbox with the word unsubscribe. And he unsubscribed to all of them.
Yeah.
So immediately he was able to cut his
Clutter lah,
many
clutter.
yes, because a lot of the times it's true, right? And I think the very frustrating thing in recent times I realized is that people add you to their mailing list without your
telling you.
permission.
Without telling you.
Yeah, and then you can write to them and say, can you please remove me? But it's not like they're gonna care. So we have to expense some time now to get out of something that we didn't even want to be a part of in the first place.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
that's the situation.
We did not opt in.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the situation, right? I don't even know how you got my email or whatever. But then it's really about
Because you're a
actively-
public figure, your email is everywhere.
It's circulating. No, it's true.
It moves around.
I went to find out, right, that if you're a public figure, somewhere, somehow, somebody will have your email put into Zoom info, for example. And then
Like, I get all sorts of weird inbox. Okay.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
really having time to do that, or if no time to one by one click unsubscribe, because so far unfortunately no one has invented a bulk unsubscribe tool, right? So another way, maybe that's another idea. Someone can invent that and monetize. Wow, I would pay for it.
I think people will pay for it.
Yeah,
It's an
I
ad
think
blocker,
so
like that,
too.
you know?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Did I just say it out loud?
Because sometimes like it's legitimate stuff, but yet they have the word unsubscribe. So you need to be a bit more selective. But anyway, like then another way that I learned recently is filtering. Yeah. So
Like
filter,
social
though,
or like-
it goes into another folder. You don't even see it outside, out of mind. Then, but the only problem is that when something urgent accidentally gets
Then you
filtered,
filter
then
it.
you gotta deal with it.
Yeah. I'm sure a few
But I
was
think
like
that,
that.
these
There's
are
also
some
spam
ways.
keywords also. There's also a spam keyword. So let's say you can filter by certain keywords. So let's say if they have this term inside, right, then it's considered as a spam. Then
So what are some good terms that our audiences can take away?
I
think
love how this
unsubscribe
whole
is
digital
great,
thing
man.
is causing a lot of stress.
It's true, right?
Yeah,
Digital
it's
is
true, it's
causing
true,
a
it's
lot
true,
of
it's true, it's
stress.
true.
I think it really depends. For some people, it could be it could be like there's already those scam messages about your whatever got hacked. So the hack word is a filter word. So
Oh, that's a great
so
one.
the moment I see the word hack is auto filtered and into the spam.
Really? Okay. No, cause that day we got some weird technical malware thing. I don't think should should just
And
yeah.
another one, Bitcoin, Forex. These are usually scams, right? So these are 4 keywords to go and
Yeah,
look
exactly.
for.
It's not like I have a lot of clients in this space, but like they usually won't send me this kind of emails. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Discount.
Yeah.
Sale.
Yeah.
Go and filter out
Fair,
everything.
fair. Wow, I didn't know modern life got so many weird stresses.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
It is.
It's quite stressful to be
Yeah,
honest.
welcome to the kampongs. Kampong life very good one, right? Not so stressed one. Legit.
That one
Got
is
lan
so
tian
stress.
bai
You need to
yu,
find
got
someone
cats,
you
got
cannot even
that.
find. Cannot contact, no telephone.
I think that one I have a lot of insecurity stress.
No.
Uncertainty stress.
Okay. You would have suffered,
I
right?
I think I'll suffer uncertainty.
Come. Clang welcomes you. Okay. Cool. I like today's episode. New some methods,
really
right? So
up.
maybe we go one round, right? Rekindle the old things. Just share one thing that you've picked up from the discussion that is not yours. Yeah, today.
Wow, I didn't know deadlines were outrageous. Okay, because I never felt that deadlines were stressful. In fact, I thrive with deadlines because it's very structured.
Yeah, now you know. Don't anyhow give me deadlines.
Yeah, don't give Don deadlines.
Yeah,
I will judge you.
I will give you a date, but not a line.
Yeah. The best one is a range.
Yeah, like this period to this period, when do you think it's good for you?
People say like anytime next week. I got 5 days to work with. Great.
But actually, it hasn't the same.
Anytime next week means the last day of the week, right? Every time people give me a limit, right? Then like a range, right? I take the upper range lah.
You mean the lower range?
Yeah. No, and then I will tell the person like, okay, I don't want to make this a pasa. I don't need to negotiate. I'll just take the upper range, but these are the parameters, right? So, but that's a different discussion. Yeah. What about you?
I know the noise stress was interesting, but it's not relevant, so it's not my main takeaway because I don't feel that.
Really?
Yeah, I really don't feel that. But I think the uncertainty stress was a good reminder because, and it's very relevant in this day and age because, with AI coming for our
That's
jobs,
true.
especially as copywriters here, right?
Yeah.
And content creators. Maybe part of those stresses that we're feeling but couldn't really put a word to it is that uncertainty. Because we have no idea, like, well, people still want to read my blog next time. ChatGPT can write. Maybe next time ChatGPT can write budget.
Show your love for budget babe in the comment section.
Budget babe.
It's we want you.
Yeah, and it is true because
Fan club. Next traveler, let us know. We go ahead.
Budget babe, welcome. Next event, I will do that. Okay.
okay, but coming
You do
back.
that with me, ah.
Second-hand embarrassment, but yeah, sure, let's do it.
Right. So yeah, I think that was actually quite thought-provoking because it does address part of the reason why I'm so tense up for quite some time already. Ever since ChatGPT really came out, because witnessing and even using it for my own writing,
It's
I
quite
have
powerful,
seen what
yeah.
it can do, and it makes it very hard for me to imagine a future. How would a future for writers look like? Because there are no clear answers, right? There's a lot of guesses and theories, but
that's true.
it's very hard to really figure out. And even like now OpenAI got even video already. And the generative video AI is very powerful.
Yeah.
How would then the future of video and content creators look like? Right? Not just content creators, but magazines, filmmakers, the entire media production industry. How would that change? And that's a stress I didn't even realize was weighing on the back of my mind until you raised uncertainty stress.
Yes.
Nice. Interesting. I think my biggest takeaway is that whole like compartmentalization, not in the sense because when I hear the word compartmentalization, it's a very technical psychological thing, right? You compartmentalize the problem, but I didn't realize that actually if you translate it, you can put the long-term stress problems as part of this list.
Yeah,
it's just doesn't
get
there.
cleared.
It's just there. It never gets cleared. It's always there. It's like this is causing you stress. This is causing you stress. This is causing you stress.
but then because it's there, like you didn't think about it.
Yeah. Because you're already aware, and I believe in the journaling thing. I've done it, and I think it works, right? Because it's about expounding it into a physical piece of thing, and then knowing that you already recognize, right? You don't need to entertain it all the time, right? So maybe I will go and do that. So nice.
Then what is one takeaway that you got that wasn't us? It wasn't yours.
He already said it.
Is it already?
I shared already.
Yeah, he said it's the first one. It's the first one that said.
Oh,
I shared about deadlines.
Oh yeah, your realization
I learned to be
was-
more mindful as well.
Right,
I think
right.
mindfulness at its core because deadline can be quite okay for me. It doesn't mean it's quite okay for others as well. So knowing this allows me to navigate better, especially when I work with creators as well, to not give you like please send by tomorrow.
Yeah. And if the deal is on the table tomorrow, no problem. Alright. If the deal is on the table.
But even if the deal is on the table, sometimes it's also not worth it lah. But of course, it's all communication. But I mean, I learned definitely about deadline management aspect.
And one thing for everyone to note really is like we need to be very conscious about protecting and building up our own systems against these stresses.
Yeah.
Because if we don't do it, then it just comes at us all the time.
Yeah, fair.
Especially because we go back to our circle. Like we need to make sure our circle is curated.
And it's consistent. Yes.
Exactly.
Nice. Yeah, I like this ending. I really feel like we should bring this back. I don't know. For some reason, we stopped doing the end summary for a while. But anyway, this will be a constant, right? So if there's any stresses that stresses you, put in the comment section. If any tips and strategies for us, put in the comment section. We'd love to hear from you. And yeah, with that's it for Wise and Shine today.
Yes.
Thank you. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.